So young ones, old ones, people of Ulster and beyond, thank you very much for that welcome, and can I say again a very particular thanks to the organisers for the invitation to attend and the opportunity to address you. And this has been a stimulating, engaging and challenging discussion. I actually think that this is a moment when the history books are written that will be recalled. Because we've heard today the confident, assertive, creative voices of progressive Irish nationalism. And we are not a homogenous group. Irish nationalism has many strands, many tendencies, traditions, and indeed regional differences. I, for example, am a proud Dub, the envy of the nation, with many successes in Croke Park. I think Dara Cleary is quietly weeping in the front row. We are diverse and we are ambitious, but we are united in our belief that Ireland can best develop, prosper and deliver for every citizen through the means of self-government. We believe that our economy, our public services and our people are best served on a 32-county basis. There are no narrow nationalists here. We are all citizens of Ireland, and we must have the same rights as every other Irish citizen, including the right to elect our Uachtaráin and including representation in the European Parliament. We want to be citizens of a united, socially just and prosperous Ireland. We are citizens of the world. There are no little Irelanders here, and we will not tolerate the narrowness of the Brexiteers. We will not tolerate a policy of isolation imposed by Brexiteers, and we insist that the British state honour its obligations to Ireland under international law. We insist that our rights are recognised and our voice heard. The people here voted to remain in the EU, and that vote must be respected. Sinn Féin, my party, is critical of the direction of the EU project. We believe that the European Union has lost its way. We believe that there needs to be a fundamental discussion and a fundamental reorientation in the direction and priorities of Europe. An EU that respects the independence of nations. An EU that acts in the interests of citizens rather than the markets. That acts in the interests of the many and not the few. But for all those criticisms, Brexit is not the answer. Brexit was never the answer. We want to change Europe, not leave it. At all times, we must be guided by a duty of care. A duty of care that puts Ireland's interests, our agreements, our economy, and the rights of our citizens front and centre. That's why we called for special status for the North. That is now the position of the Irish government and of the European Union, I am happy to say. The withdrawal agreement between Britain and the EU with the backstop is now the bottom line and the very bare minimum required to protect Irish interests. We also have a duty of candour to call out cant, hypocrisy and delusion. That is why we call out the reckless behaviour of the DUP and of the Tories. That is why we consistently say that there is no good Brexit. If the Brexit fantasists have their way, and if there is a crash, there will be very serious consequences for our island. A crash and no backstop means a hardening of the border, the undermining of the Good Friday Agreement, the loss of rights, and continued uncertainty and instability. And that is why it is so important that the government cannot and must not blink at this time. Because we say from here loudly and clearly that a hardening of the border is inconceivable, and it will be met with the demand for a unity referendum. Let me put it this way. If Brexit cannot be managed and mitigated, then the people must have the opportunity to remove the border for once and for all. The absolute and ultimate backstop for citizens is the Good Friday Agreement. It is the unity referendum, and that fact has also to be respected. The honest truth is that we don't know exactly what will happen over the coming weeks and months. A deal, no deal, a hard Brexit, a soft Brexit. It's not in our hands. It's in the hands of a minority Tory government in London. And that really is the crux of the problem. The current Brexit crisis is but a symptom of a much deeper problem. And friends, that problem is partition. While the Brexiteers dream of an empire long gone, there are those within unionism with a burning nostalgia for the good old days that never were, and a perpetual majority that has ended. And we have to be straight with each other, because the North has changed. The unionist majority is no more, and nationalist strength is growing. Modernity beckons, and a more progressive society is emerging. Once upon a time, for the younger folk, the economic engine of Ireland was the northeast. Belfast was the biggest city, and Home Rule was justifiably seen as Rome Rule. But those days are over. And it is our job as leaders, each and every one of us, to now manage the evolving process of change with care, with patience, and with generosity. So to those who would say that this is not the time for unity, I say otherwise, because history is unfolding and the next chapter is being written. Now is the time. I think the biggest mistake, I think the most reckless course of action is for leaders to set their face against the inevitable and to try to deny people their democratic right to define their future. I think it's irresponsible. I think it is arrogant for a Dublin government to shout down any prospect of a unity referendum. I think it's wrong. I believe that the responsible thing to do is to play a part in shaping change and to engage in a debate that is already underway. So I want again today to challenge the government in Dublin to convene a forum and to begin that planning for unity that we've all spoken about here today. And just for the avoidance of doubt, let me say that there is no contradiction in seeking the establishment of a functioning assembly and an executive and calling for a unity referendum. Both are grounded in the Good Friday Agreement. So it's not a case of either or. We can have institutions operating to the highest standards of governance that safeguard rights and deliver for all. We can have that. And Sinn Féin is determined to re-establish the institutions, to deliver genuine power sharing in line with the Good Friday Agreement and subsequent agreements. In our time, we have a privileged opportunity that was denied to generations, and that is a peaceful, democratic route to Irish unity, to build a new united Ireland. And I'm not talking about bolting the north onto the south. I'm talking about a new united Ireland that must be just that, new and united. The failed conservative states of the past are gone. The failed policies of successive Irish governments must also go, because the South is a place of potential, prosperity and opportunity, but it's also blighted by inequality, a housing crisis, homelessness and a chaotic health service. And I believe that together, united, we can change that. To paraphrase Connolly, our future cannot be merely about changing the flag. Ireland North and South has great wealth, great resources, and we're blessed with an industrious and innovative population. The wealth of the nation can be shared amongst the people. A new Ireland can be a place of equal rights, equal opportunities and shared prosperity. A new Ireland must have a truly national healthcare system, operating to the highest standards and delivering on the basis of need and not the ability to pay. It has to be an Ireland of the helping hand and the safety net, a place for all to call home, where all are provided with a home, a place where we are united in our diversity, where you can be British, Irish, or both, or neither, where you are respected and where your rights are safeguarded. The Good Friday Agreement not only provides a roadmap to Irish unity, but also safeguards the rights to citizenship, equality and parity of esteem. And there can be, and there will be, no diminution of these rights in a united Ireland. To the Unionist community, let me say that not only will you have a home in a united Ireland, you will have a place at the table, a place at the centre of political life and not left in the margins of Westminster. The Protestant, Unionist and Loyalist community are part of the fabric and diversity of our nation. And they must be part of the discussion to shape a new Ireland. They must be partners in building a new Ireland. Our shared and often troubled history can be reconciled. We have to believe that. We are unique and diverse in our traditions, but I believe that together, united, the people of our nation add up to a sum greater than our individual parts. We seek to unite Protestant, Catholic and dissenter. There are no second-class citizens in this land. We are about reaching out and building anew. Brexit will play its way out over the coming weeks, and it brings into stark relief the failure of partition and presents the opportunity to look ahead and to challenge prevailing views and notions, to look to a future free from recrimination of what has been and to look towards what can be. Regardless of Brexit, there will be a unity referendum. It's our job to secure that, to win that, and to win it well. We have no interest in fighting battles long over. This isn't about what we have, we hold. It's about how we share our future on this island. And it will require a collective national effort. And all will have a role to play and must have their voice. There will always be those who hide behind the mantra that the time is not right. But now is the time, and the people must have that choice. Is rawa an phobal agus ní mór den daoine an rawa seo a bheith acu, cathair an ceist sin a chur. Continued partition or a united Ireland? The question must be put. And I am confident that this is the time, that this is your time, this is our time. It will require collective national commitment. But rights can no longer be delayed. Aspirations can no longer be curbed. Voices can no longer be stilled. Those days are gone and over. Now is the time to look to the future with confidence, patience, and generosity. I believe that now is the time to make history, to break from the past and to think anew, to build a new, united Ireland, prosperous, free, and a home to all. What's to fear in that? So Sinné Macórja. Míle buchas, gur míle maithagibh, and I am sure when we meet again, we will have at least 40% greater of a crowd than we had at this wonderful event. Gur míle maithagibh.